Good morning, everyone. This is Sarah Deitch. I'm a customer success manager with SkyBitz. On behalf of myself and the entire SkyBitz team, we want to welcome you to week 5 of SkyBitz Training Tuesdays. Thank you to the folks who have been attending all classes so far. I see a bunch of names that I recognize. Weeks 1 through 4 are available on the SkyBitz YouTube channel, and also when you're logged into Insight in the help section. They are updated as of today. Thank you everyone for attending. We hope that these 1-hour sessions will improve your level of understanding within the Insight tool in order to bolster your confidence in using our best-in-class user interface to its full potential. The intent of the trainings is to provide a live demonstration as much as possible. I will be referring to a PowerPoint today. I just needed to do that. I couldn't get everything live. So we're going to have to go off onto a PowerPoint just today for 2 slides, but normally we like to keep it as live as possible. Just a few housekeeping items before we dive in. I'm going to minimize this and make sure the screen is open. We've muted all participant lines so we don't have any background noise. If you have muted yourself, which by all means you can do that as well, but if you want to ask a question live later, you have to unmute yourself because we're not able to mute you once you've done that. We have factored in time for Q&A, so you can also type in questions on the chat. We will get to those as well. At the end, you can raise your hand and then we'll be able to address any live questions. All sessions are being recorded and they will be available for playback via the SkyBitz YouTube channel. And again, as I had mentioned, in the help section on the Insight platform. Today, we're going to review the dashboard and Insight Now. These 2 areas that we'll be focusing on today are generally for device management purposes. We have some users that view Insight in order to see what devices are reporting, what devices may need replacement or are having some trouble with their reporting. So we're kind of focused in on that group today. But by all means, if that's not something that you're participating in at your company or the business that you're working for, please stay and just watch the training. It does give some valuable information for folks who may not be heavily involved with that, but may want to just take a look and see what's going on with the account in general. First of all, we're going to go over Insight Now. Insight Now is a visual dashboard, as you can see right here. I'm already in the Insight Now home section. And there we go, just refreshed it. It provides real-time information and summarized views based on roles relevant to each customer's business operations. Customers are able to utilize reports that offer more visual details and information meant for day-to-day operations and analysis. Insight Now provides more convenient and easy to understand information that will help users make informed decisions and take immediate action. So when you come into the Insight Now dashboard, you do have 3 options. You're automatically sent to the device administration tab. There is an account tab. There's also an operations tab as well. But today we're going to spend time in the device administration dashboard view. So these panels are automatically driven by data for your account specifically. The maintenance managers and other users can benefit from this summarized view of device information, such as number of installed units, reporting units, units solving for position, battery status, the last known location, whether a device is tethered to a power source or not. And not all customers are going to get this information here based on what types of devices you have in your account. So if you're using tethered devices, then you should see tethered information in your account. If you're using cargo sensors or detection sensors, such as a CDS, which detects if a chassis has a container on it or not, then you would have this panel populated. The panels will be in your account regardless of if you use those devices or not, but only if you're using those specific types of devices will you then see these panels with data in them. Okay, let's get started. So what I want to do is discuss each section pretty much one at a time. I'm not certain, on the call how many people are actually using the Insight Now section. I believe some people kind of go into it and take a quick look and maybe back out of it because they're not sure what's going on. So another reason we're doing these training Tuesdays is to kind of get your feet wet in a section and hope that once the training session is over, that you'll then go back, log into Insight. Even if you are logged into it right now, that's great. Log into Insight and take a look. Again, I say this every week. There's nothing in this user interface that you can break. So please, by all means, click on everything. It's pretty much how most of us learn how to use everything, right? So just come on in and click some stuff. So go to the Insight Now home, again, Insight Now home page. All right. These panel arrangements, so these panels up here at the top are pretty much panels of their own. And when you're seeing percentages and these red, green, or yellow bubbles, the percentage will dictate what color the bubble is right here. Red is less than 75%. Yellow will appear between 75 and 90, including 75 and including 90. And green is greater than 90%. So when you see those colors, that's what that means. Installed. So if I click on this percentage here, I will come to the installed and uninstalled devices pie chart. I will also come to a couple of panels right here, installations over time and shipments to first report time. So these are different pieces of data that people are interested in seeing. What in my account is installed, what in my account is uninstalled. I'm able to then click on the color to remove it from the view. I can also hover. I keep hovering over things, I apologize. Installed is 1389, uninstalled in this account is 285. And this is a fantastic graph. I think it gives you a view of the age of your account, right? And how long devices have been installed. I think some customers look at their accounts and go, wow, I can't believe we installed devices back in 2014. And you'll see the trends here. You can hover over different spots and get that information. So I'll hover over this bubble, and over here, and you'll see installations that were done at that time. And shipment to first report time, shipment, installation, and the first time that the device reports to our servers. So we can look here, 924 in 0 months. And then we have 5 months, how many devices? 4 months. So if you slide over, the little bubble will appear and it'll give you that information. Down below, there will be a report. So once you've clicked on something on that Insight Now dashboard, you'll come to another screen. And then as soon as you come to this other screen, you're going to generally see some charts and graphs up top, which I just kind of showed you right there. And then here, you can filter by asset ID. You have to at least enter 3 characters of your asset ID, which is good. You can kind of do a group serial number if you know that. Most people don't know the serial number, but if you do, you can type in 3 or more characters and you'll get a result. Asset groups. So any groups that you've created, we talked about setting up groups a few weeks ago. So this is another section where you can select a group and you just want to look at that. Asset type. So an asset type is when you're installing your devices onto your assets, at that time, you're able to select an asset type. Not everybody utilizes asset types, but some customers will based on their fleet arrangement. So some have reefers, some have tankers, and some have a mix that they would like to be able to sort and filter based on that asset type. So we wanted to look at, say, some dry vans, installation date. You can do a period. You can also do a range. So once you're doing a period, it's going to give you a drop down, last 7 days, last year, all the way down. And the range, you're able to open this up and select calendar dates. Last report date and shipment date. So those are criteria that you're able to filter by right here. And then you can utilize product type. Some of our customers, at least some customers that I personally manage, have one type of product. Some customers have been with us, again, quite some time and have a bunch of different types of products. The product type is what device you're using to track your asset. And as I'm in a demo account, there are going to be many different product types. Some we don't even use anymore, but just to give you an idea, take a look. GXT 5000, let's do GXT 5002C. And again, I could pick any of these filters. I'm just going to look at my product, type GXT 5002C and hit submit. And there are my results, my asset ID, my serial number, shipment date, installation date, last report date, asset type, configuration status, and sensor number, sensor serial number. If there's a sensor, cargo sensor or anything attached, any other sensors attached. So we can sort by any of these columns. We can refilter, you can hit reset and your data will go away. You can refilter by any other item that you want to, and then hit submit again. So you're able to then get that report. Let's do this one more time, GXT 5000, and we'll hit submit. And this is going to run this report. Looks like it already did. Let's go here again, hit submit. Sorry. Well, maybe I just took too many stabs at it, but you're able to then download that report. We have a download CSV file option up top here. All right, let's go back to device administration. And any path, just wanted to mention this, any path you're taking in Insight will be shown up here in this gray banner. So I'm in Insight Now Home, device administration, installations. So I can go back one by clicking on this, or I can go back clicking on device administration. So what I had clicked on was the installed percentage, and that brought me to where I just was, and I can click here, install devices reporting. So there aren't any graphs on this one, and it's very similar to what we last saw. When we run this report here, we'll have an asset ID, a serial number, a status, last report date, and a battery status. So let's just go real quick. We can look at some 5002Cs again and hit submit. Asset ID is 1, serial number, status is reporting, last report date, and the battery is good. And let's go back to device administration. All right, now here we have solved positions, meaning that the device is reporting and it is also given us a location that it is reporting from. 97% of the devices in this account have a solved position. It's telling us an address, it's telling us a latitude, longitude, or a landmark that we've imported into the system. And 88% of this account is installed with a good battery. So once we get down here, we'll talk about battery status a little bit more, your non-rechargeables versus your rechargeable devices. Again, a lot of our customers still do have some of the non-rechargeable devices, and we'll take a look at that right here. And device information. So let's start looking at the larger panels. As far as device information, we're getting show all as the default. Installed and reporting, installed and not reporting, installed and reporting, uninstalled and not reporting, and uninstalled and reporting. So I'll just go over those. I know that was a lot to say at once, but installed devices mean they have an asset ID associated to the serial number. Uninstalled devices means that in our system there is no asset ID identified with the serial number. So that is basically, that's a baseline piece of information. Generally, when you're looking at data, you'll see a -1 as the name of the asset in an uninstalled device. And again, installed will show the asset ID that your company has assigned to that serial number. So that's the difference between installed and uninstalled. As far as looking at this graph, we can hover, installed, not reporting, though we do have a legend down here. We have a key. Anywhere you go, you can pretty much highlight and hover, and it'll give you that information. You can also, like I had done before, click off. I only want to see installed and not reporting. And I'm going to go to the data piece right here, that little And I'm going to look at my non-reporting devices. And I will keep it at a period of the last 7 days. And I want to look at all battery statuses. So let's hit submit. And that'll take a minute. So it's going to run the report and it's going to give me information on all of my non-reporting devices, which I did have a couple of those. So let's look at both. How about we look at both? Make sure that we get some information here. Sorry about that. So over to the left, we're looking at asset ID. Again, anytime you see that little finger pointing, you're able to use that as a filter point or a sort point. So I want to look at all statuses. I only have reporting statuses in here. If I had a non-reporting status, it would come up in here and I would know the last report date. So I'll filter that, September 8th of 2020, meaning in the last 7 days, all of these devices have reported. The battery statuses, I can sort by that as well. And I do have some devices that have a low battery status. So I may actually put those on some sort of a watch list. What I can do is then I can export that into a CSV file and I can email that out to somebody. I only want to look at my low battery statuses, maybe, depending on the device type, it's just not getting, either it's not getting sun or it's not tethered and it's not getting charge from external the way it should be. This will tell you how many pages this report has. You can peruse the report here by using next and last, or you can, again, like I had mentioned, utilize the export feature. And you can also have it emailed. So I'll click on that. I'm going to Insight Now report emailed from SkyBitz to me, and then I would hit submit and it would be emailed to me at that time. That's not a schedulable report, but it is on-demand email. I can also put that into a PDF format right here. And then this is a bookmark, and I'll show you how to use bookmarks in 1 second. Go back to device administration. Okay, so we looked at the device information, and last known location is coming up. So on the left here, I'm sorry, on the right here, we have the heat map signature. Right, so I see the entire United States. I see all of North America here. This is representative of, let me pop this out. Oop, didn't pop out. Let me pop this up a little bit. This is representative of where your assets are located in quantity, right? So if I want to know how many I have in Florida, I can hover over. Generally can hover over the state. There we go. I have 1 device in South Carolina. I have 530 devices in Mississippi. So when we're looking at the heat map, anything in as it gets closer to red, that's a higher concentration of devices. And any of the states or provinces that don't have any devices in them will not have a color signature set to them. So I can click on Indiana, 2 devices there, so on and so forth. So over here, it kind of gives your account's legend and you're able to then find the devices via color. So I want to find my highest concentration is red. I have a total of, I think that says 567, some place in a red zone. And then I do have some states that only have 1 in them. So I can put this on satellite. I can also keep it on map. Either way, this is a pretty useful for a quick high-level overview of where my devices are in the world. It's a quick way to look. And some customers that I do have reported finding devices in places that they shouldn't be. Why do I have a device in Oregon? Why do I have a device in Ontario? So this is also helpful for that kind of search reasoning. Okay, battery status. This one's pretty important. As we did see, we had some devices that had some poor quality battery charges. Right here, we have 2 different categories, non-rechargeable and rechargeable. So the non-rechargeable devices are ones that you would have to change the battery on. The rechargeable devices are the ones that receive their power externally, whether it's a solar device or it is a tethered device. So the tethered device would get the power from the 7-way, and of course the solar devices are getting them from the sun. But we do have older models of some of our customers. A lot of our customers, in fact, do still have some devices that the batteries are or were removable and either changeable, or you would get a new device because your battery had died after its life. But here we can look at, I just want to look at the ones that I need, or I just want to look at the ones that look good. So here, all of these tiles, you can do those little clicks and just get a better view of exactly what you want to look at. I'm going to go over here to the reporting section. All right, so in the battery status section, we are again looking at our grid of non-rechargeable versus rechargeable devices, uninstalled versus installed with good and low battery, so it relates to the battery, and age of non-rechargeable batteries. This was particularly helpful for our customers, again, that had the devices that you use the battery up, you get rid of the device, or you have to change the battery. Depends on which type of device you had or have. But right here, we have a nice little section of how many do I have in this, how many have I had for 5 years, how many have I had for 4, and so on. So we're looking at that specifically for non-rechargeable batteries. And down here, we can look at different, of course, you always have the asset ID, serial number, and asset group over on this side. And then in this middle section, we're looking at specifics. I want to look at rechargeable, non-rechargeable, or both. Status is low, good, or both. And again, periods of last report date and replacement date, reporting status, and you'll always have your product type to select from, hit submit, and your data will show. Let's go submit. I should get some information here. Excellent. So we have our different serial numbers, different types, because I did select both, non-rechargeable, rechargeable. Status is good on top there, but we wanted to look at both. I don't have any bad statuses here, or low. There's my low. Okay. So I have low status on a couple of these. Last replacement date, and if there was one, last report date, and the reporting status. So I, again, can send this off to a CSV file. I can send this off in an email, a PDF, or I can bookmark it. So I want to bookmark this as battery report, and I will hit save. And then what will happen when I'm looking at the device administration section, I have to hit that arrow, and any bookmarks that I have created, which would be, I've chosen specific filters on one of the reports. I can go right to it once I click on the battery report, or any other bookmarks that I've actually saved at that point. And then I can certainly delete them. Yes, I want to delete it. And back to the device administration section. So the RMA status and tethered information, I'll go over those momentarily. I have to go to the PowerPoint for that one, but the configured cargo and detection sensors section, pretty helpful for our customers that are utilizing either the GXT 5002C, which is the all-in-one solar device with a cargo detection sensor built in, or utilizing any of our other devices that are compatible with our external cargo sensor. We do have quite a few of those. And this section will also show us other detection sensors. And I had mentioned chassis with containers mounted, or chassis are bare. So at that point, we're able to detect if there's a chassis that's, has a container on it or does not have a container on it. So we have that device as well. We're looking here at configured cargo and detection sensors detection. We have 122 that are reading okay, and we also have 5 that need attention for whatever reason. We do have 6 cargo sensors that are detecting okay, and 9 that need attention in our account. So let's go to the reporting section. Look at this real quick. This is important information for customers who are, again, generally people who are, in charge of maintenance of assets and maintenance of these devices as well. I need to make sure that my cargo sensors are working or my detection sensors are working. That's the reason you have that device, so you need to be able to manage that effectively. And let's submit. So I would apply some filters. I just want to make sure I get some information here. So we have status as responsive or status as needs attention. And we are looking at these devices here that need attention. So what I would then do is in these, I can tell here have external cargo sensors, the sensor install date. So the external cargo sensor has to be installed. The ones that are built in one, they don't have to be. Are there performance issues? No, but something needs attention within the either the detection, the cargo detection, or the container detection system. So you would then want to probably email this to somebody who could take care of that, or you would like to, download it and send it, review the data first and then send it out yourself. But right here is some important information if you're utilizing our CDS or our cargo sensor. Let's go back to device administration. So quickly, I want to just bring up this section here. The SkyBitz demo site does not have any RMAs pending, which is good for the SkyBitz demo site. A few of our customers may have some RMAs pending. So when you're in Insight Now, you're able to see the RMA status. Of course, there's a panel with a chart, like right here. We'll show all RMAs in process and their status. Awaiting receipt means that we are awaiting you to the customer to send back a device. Awaiting evaluation, we're evaluating a device internally and awaiting customer's approval. In some cases, we have to say to one of our customers, hey, we would like to send this repaired device back to you. We need your approval. It's going to cost X amount of dollars. Not every customer experiences all of these statuses, but these are the statuses that will appear on the RMA section of the Insight Now dashboard. Then, of course, there's a corresponding report. The report then gives details on each device that's in each queue. So you may have multiple case IDs here. If you have different cases as your requested RMAs from SkyBitz. So you can certainly send this out to someone within your organization. You can download this report and it'll tell you the status of each of those RMAs, and it'll tell you when the RMA was created, which is fantastic. All right, and anything awaiting evaluation, when we did receive it, so that we could then begin evaluating the device. And then the next section that I wanted to look at that we didn't have any data available is the, I apologize, that's not correct. I'm going to do that right now. The tethered information section. So I had mentioned tethered devices, and a tethered device gets its power externally from the 7-way. Have to make sure that that installation is completed properly. It's a fantastic device, but if it is not installed correctly, there will be issues with the device getting power. If devices show chatter, the unit is losing connectivity on and off. So it's chattering to our network. That's what chatter means. And if it's moving untethered, meaning it's hooked, you know that the asset is moving, meaning it's being pulled by a tractor, it should be tethered at that point. So that means you need to look at the 7-way and make sure that it's properly plugged in. And then the report will give you the detail on each device in either status, one status, whichever status you need to look at. You can then run that report. This is definitely something we have a lot of tethered devices out there in the field. They're extremely useful devices for many reasons, the tether being one of them. But if that tether is not secure, if it's not put in correctly, then there will be issues with it. So this is a place that you can one-stop look. Hey, how are my tethers all doing? Everything's great, fine. But you definitely want to make some adjustments if you're experiencing issues with your tether. All right, now back to the device administration section. So I've covered this here in its entirety. We will go over the account and the operations sections at a later date. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of this section. Especially those who are in the maintenance departments, and making sure that devices are being taken care of. And the next section we're going to go to is the dashboard. I believe most people have been on this section because you probably are defaulted to it. When you log in for the very first time, it isn't set up though. So what you'll generally see is the add remove information. Add remove just tells you, the tabs that are available to you, and you can put them in whatever order you would like. I think some people also have stepped into a role, stepped into a login, and they're just looking at the dashboard the way that other person had set it up. So what we can do here is I'll just review real quickly. The add remove tab is always there. It's always going to give you the option to add or remove these tabs and put them in an order that is appealing or useful to you. You don't have to use all of the tabs. Some people are only concerned with the population summary. I'm going to go over that. It tells you how many devices you have in your account, what status they're in, kind of like on the Insight Now dashboard. I use that very frequently, and I direct all customers to utilize that section, the population summary. So if I want that first, I already have, say, these tabs showing. I want my population summary to go first. I would go up and move it up. Or if I didn't want to have it at all, I could remove it by highlighting it and moving it over with one of these arrows. Once I've put these in order that I like to see them, then I would hit save, and that would change how I'm looking at this. We're not going to review the lease and lessee sections. That's actually going to be for a completely separate training Tuesday, but we will go over leasing and being a lessee or a lessor. Sorry about that. Let's go to population summary. Okay, so what I'm looking at right here is a very long list of devices, of course, because as I said, this is the demo account. We have every kind of device you can possibly imagine in here. But we are looking at something kind of familiar. When we were in the Insight Now section, we did see the words installed and uninstalled, reporting and not reporting. That is also shown right here on the population summary. Number of installed MTs, mobile terminals, click for definition. So anytime you see a red underline, you can then click on that for a definition of what that means. Installed, I've given you that definition already, means that a device has an asset ID tied to it. Anytime you see a hyperlink, blue and underlined, you're able to click on that and it will give you more information. So let's click on 1390. These are all my installed devices. This report right here, displaying results of all assets, could be a lengthy one depending on the size of your account. You can download it to a CSV, but that will only download the first page. So what I want to do is download all pages. Anytime you see that option, click on it. It'll give you all the data. You can also peruse right here with scroll arrows. This one takes you to the very end, and this one just takes you one by one. Information right here is not sortable, but once it's in that CSV file, it will be. If you click on these devices down below, there are different choices. Page them. There are different choices down here for your account, and it will be based on the devices that you have right here. It will be a little bit different on what you can and can't do, but just so you know, the page terminals is down at the bottom. You can page multi at one time if you need to. Let's go back to the dashboard home. Oh, one more thing. Anything blue, as I had mentioned, is clickable. Click to see location history. Click to see location history. So you can always click on any of these hyperlinks. They will take you to another section, but then you're able to look at the information for that specific asset ID. Population summary back. And number of uninstalled. You can do a large number of installations right here if you would like to. I'm not going to do that right now, but any uninstalled, this is particular interest to a lot of customers. I know I have devices sitting on a shelf. I have devices that I need to put on my assets. Can I get a list of those? That's one of the most common questions I hear about uninstalled devices. Can I get a list of my uninstalled? Right here is 285. And then here's another category that we should probably go over a little bit more detail: uninstalled mobile terminals reporting within the last 7 days. So here's where our default of 7 days comes in. we are able to, I apologize for this long list, the position threshold, it in this account is defaulted to 7 days. I can change that. And why I would want to do that is because I want to, if my device reports when it's idle every 7 days, so if my asset sits for 7 days, my device will check in at that 7th day if it hasn't moved. That's a pretty standard configuration for our customers on their mobile terminals or on their devices. So we default here to latest position threshold of 7 days. You're able to change that in manage settings preferences, and you can default it to up to, I believe 90 days is the threshold. But you really wouldn't want to do that because then that kind of puts you out of range for what you want to be looking at on non-installed device or not reporting devices. So I can put that here. I'll change that, and that drives what I'm seeing up here. So uninstalled reporting within the last 7 days means an asset or a device does not have a name associated with it, meaning you haven't given it a number, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever your nomenclature is. You haven't given it that. So, but it's reporting, meaning it's moving around, it's, you know, it's been utilized, and maybe you just took off the name and you are going to RMA it, or you thought there was something wrong with it, but there are different reasons that you would have an uninstalled device reporting. But the main way we determine that is the asset ID does not exist for that device. Installed mobile terminals reporting, but not solving within the last 7 days. So I had mentioned what solving is. Solving means it's given back a location. If it's not solving, it could say that it reported today, but when you're looking at the information, it's not going, when you're looking at the data, line of data for that mobile terminal or that asset, it won't give you where it is. It'll just tell you that it reported today. Installed mobile terminals not reporting within the last 7 days. So this is where you would go to look also, Insight Now or the dashboard, to see how many devices you have that haven't reported in the past 7 days that are installed in your account, meaning A, they have an asset ID, B, they haven't reported whatsoever within the last 7 days, or whatever number you've put in your preferences or you've put down here. So if I show you, it might change right here, last 14 days, I'll hit refresh. Insight's gonna say, are you sure you wanna do that? And I say yes. So it changes numbers. It'll change these numbers here, and then it generally will change numbers here. If a device hasn't reported in 8 days, it would show on the 7-day threshold, but it wouldn't show up as a non-reporting device on a 14-day. And on this page, we also get to see every type of device that we have, regardless of if it is installed or uninstalled, reporting or not reporting. When you see the number of MTs by product type, you're looking at all types of devices in your account. Again, this account has every device that we probably have ever manufactured. Most of you will see 1, 2, possibly 3 or 4 different product types. But again, if you click on the hyperlink, it's going to bring you to the list of these devices. So let's look at these. And then it'll give you the asset ID if there is one associated. If there's not, it will still appear in this list, and it will appear as an NA, serial number, install, deinstall date. So when was it installed or when was it uninstalled? Because this is the comprehensive list of GXT 5000s that are in your account, regardless of installation status. All right. Location distribution. So when you back up where all of your devices are located, if you only have devices located in the United States or in Canada, then you will only see a list of provinces or states here. This account has devices in Mexico and the United States, so the distribution of assets will be by country first, so it backs it up all the way. I have had customers, again, in the United States, I have 2 devices in Canada. Why am I showing 2 devices in Canada? They shouldn't be there. Or 3 devices in Mexico, they shouldn't be there. So I have had customers use this panel and find assets that are in places that they're not supposed to be. I can click on the country, and I'll click on the United States, and then it'll drill me down into the states, the individual states that have devices in them. And I can click on the state, and it will go to the actual information that pertains to that asset or assets. So let's go back to home. All right. So these are the distributions that, again, we're going to see that threshold. The distributions have been completed using the latest position threshold, position being where am I in the world, equaling 7 days. So we can change this here if we want to as well. And any recent searches that I've done, sometimes I will do the same search over and over and over again. So instead of having to click all around town just to find out the same exact information, go to the exact same asset every single time, it will show up in my favorites and my recent searches as well. So whatever I've done most recently, it's going to display that to me. And then I can clear those once they get, too stacked up or I'm not utilizing that anymore. It's like kind of like clearing the cache of Insight, your cache, personal. And again, add and remove is right here. And that's what we started with. So you're able to customize your dashboard. Well, also over to the right, we have new service announcement. We are using pop-ups now. So yesterday when you logged in, there was a pop-up about a maintenance, and there's also a pop-up about Training Tuesdays. This will be removed. The new services announcement will be removed in future releases, as it says right here. We have system maintenance, mobile terminal maintenance notice, and more at SkyBitz. This will take you to skybitz.com. All right, and there are a few other things within Insight that I wanted to review with everyone at this point. The help section, I'll start with that one. The help section is displayed 24/7. So it could be 3 o'clock in the morning and you're looking at Insight. I hope you're not doing that, but you can click on the help section. It's interactive. All of the Training Tuesdays videos are in here. Excuse me. Today's will be put into the, today's will be put in within the next 24 hours. We have Training Tuesdays registration. So anyone in your organization who would like to attend Training Tuesdays, come on into Insight, click on Training Tuesdays registration, and you will be prompted to register for our events. Supported browsers, installation and troubleshooting guides contains all installation guides. So if you come here and see what type of devices you have, you'll be able to kind of filter through and find what information you might need. Previous and current release information is right here, meaning the user interface, Insight, previous and current release information. Training Tuesdays, any training and webinar videos that we have already created are here. And you can also contact us, email customer care. And we'll close that up. And one more, I'm going to go to the asset list, locate assets, asset list. I talk about this every session because this is my favorite section of Insight. This is a fully functional filtering section where you can drill down into what you need. Few clicks of a button and hitting the word submit. If you go to asset list, once you have filtered, you will then go to the list of assets that you're concerned with. If you go to asset view, then you will see once you filter down, you hit submit, you will go to a large map of the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and you will see your assets on a map. Whenever there is a newer section or a section we need to explain, we feel that we need to explain to our customers, there will be a show me how clickable banner right here. So once I hit show me how, it then goes to welcome to the new asset view. It is specific to the feature that you're residing in at that moment. You can use this feature to define the set of assets you want to use for decision making. Boom. So that's describing what the section is. Then you can hit next, and sometimes it will tell you to do something. So you will select your filters and hit submit. That's how you'll utilize this section. I love show me how. I think anytime you see it, just give it a click. It's going to teach you how to use sections of the website that you may not have previously utilized. All right. Oh, I forgot one thing about the help section. It's movable, so I can click on it and drag it any place I see a little blue box. I can just plop it right there. It's only going to be around the borders. That's number one. And number two, it's always going to default to this area when I am logged out and logged back in. It's going to show up back here again. So if you want to move it, you can move it, but only to where we've defined, and it's not going to stay there, but you can move it around if you have to. Oh, it didn't go. All right. So at this point, I am going to open up and what I wanted to mention, as once the webinar is over, we want to keep these training sessions relevant. We want to make sure that you want to come back next week. You want to tell other members of your organization, please, let's go to the training Tuesdays. It's only an hour. It's not going to take up too much time. We're trying to give some valuable tips on utilizing the system. Why am I going to use this? What am I going to do with this information? We do have a survey. Last week we did do a poll. We've been sending out emails, but at the end of the webinar, we're going to ask you to please fill out a survey. It will take only about 2 minutes. It's not a long survey whatsoever. I'd greatly appreciate it personally, and SkyBitz would appreciate it as far as content going forward with Training Tuesdays. So there's my little pitch for the survey that we're going to ask you to fill out, and we do have about 12 minutes for questions. So let's open that up, please.
All right.
If anyone has any.
Thank you, Sarah. All right. So there's one question that came in from James Anderson. Is there a way you can tell an asset that was installed but then went broke or went offline in a list format?
Yes. So when you're looking at the dashboard, which we went over today, you're able to see installed mobile terminals that are not reporting within the last, again, you'd set your threshold, 7 days is a good default, and then you would hit display, and it will show you all of the assets in your account that are currently not reporting at that threshold that you've defined. So then at this point, since there are 1347 results in the demo account, for shame, that's not good. We'd want to download all of the pages because it'll be a multitude of pages you can see right here. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, that seems to have answered it. James, if you have a follow-up to that, certainly you can raise your hand. We can take you off mute to further clarify if needed. If not, if you have any questions, you can certainly submit them via the questions text box or by raising your hand in the control panel, and we can unmute your line so you can ask your question.
And of course, going forward, if you have questions on any topics at all, reach out to customer care. I will just display that email and phone number. Our customer care team is seasoned and they can answer all of the questions that you would definitely have on anything you've heard here or any questions you have in general. They are a great group of folks.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't see any additional questions, Sarah, so I'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you, Ira. And we'd like to thank everyone for attending the session today. These sessions are about you. You're our partners and helping you leverage the powerful tools provided, or the reason that we've decided to move forward with Training Tuesdays. If you have any recommendations or ideas for future session content, please let us know and we'll be happy to put that together. We have many weeks to go in this training schedule. Next week, September 22nd, same time, same place, we're going to discuss part of the Analyze Assets section, including current idle time, idle history report, and current load status. I know plenty of people heard the word idle and definitely are going to want to join. So please pass that on to other members of your team. I thank you greatly for attending Training Tuesdays today, and have a great day, everybody.